Well, hello my YouTube friend. Today it is my utter pleasure to present you this newest acquisition of mine, the KMT from Master Charles Marlowe. And for the life of me, don't ask me what KMT means. I have no clue of the signification of this acronym, but I tried to reach Charles Marlowe to have any information about that. But how can I put it? Charles is kind of a hermit. I don't know. He's not the most extrovert person that you can find in the planet. So I'm waiting for his answer, but I might as well wait probably for snow to happen in the Sahara Desert. I'm joking. Really, I really appreciate Charles Marlowe for his work. I had the opportunity to talk to the man who is, like I said, not the most extrovert person, but he's a really kind person. And I spoke a couple of times with him in the show, and I like this guy. You know, he's I like his work more than the person because I didn't get to know the person well, but his work is just phenomenal. And I'm really happy that I got the chance to get this knife because that's a kind of alien, even in his own planet. it doesn't have anything to do with his knives, with his usual knives, and yet is one of the most simple package that you can expect on a knife. I mean, it's a frame lock, a flipper with a drop point blade, nothing really special, but for him, it's truly differing, truly going in a totally other way than his usual build. I mean. Come on, I'm losing my for a lot of specs on this knife, it's totally different than his usual builds. First of all, it's a frame lock, and Charles is mostly a liner lock maker. I mean, basically all the knives that I had from him were liner locks, and I don't remember seeing a lot of his frame locks. So that's for one. Then he's not also making a lot of flippers. Most of his knives are thumb opening. Of course, you have the hybrid that is a dual opening, but basically you can expect from him to have like thumb opening. Flipper is not the usual build. Then the finish on his blades. Mostly you will never, I mean, you will have like Damascus or satin, but this finish is really unique, but we're going to discuss about that when we will make this review, whenever I will decide to start really the overview. And last thing also that I don't see, but first of all, of course, because it doesn't do a lot of frame lock, but is the steel insert here on the lock, and this clip that looks like a clip, where usually his clips are, I mean, that's the only feature that I don't like really on his knives, are the clip that are really bent with those big screws that are you know, this screw, look at that. I mean, you don't see, it's just well inserted because of the design of the clip. All the others are like usual bend, his usual bend clip that I was going to say despise. I don't like, you know, but it's effective. You know, like Mayo, for example, does those kind of bend clip. Morrison's also a lot of Ray Laconico, and they make really nice and functional clip. But for the aesthetics, I like it, and especially this kind of clip that looks like I call them usually pen clip, you know, because they look like the clip that you have on a pen. You know, here you have a kind of 3D, and then after that it's like it was like if it was a pen clip. That's actually my favorite clip because it's the best of both worlds. You know, it's not the bend usual clip, and it's not the too massive 3D clip. But what if we start now this review? What do we have here? I mean, we have like I said, one of the most simpler knife that you can expect. And man, is that the hardest thing for me to get perfection with the simpler package. I've talked about that relentlessly, about Mayo, about any kind of art. You know, take paintings, for example. When you're going to see all those Rococo and Baroque paintings with a lot of, you know, a lot of characters in it, a lot of things that can, you know, attract the eye and diverge your eye from the true analysis of the work. Basically, you can hide a lot of imperfection when it's really charged. Now, when you do a simpler package like that, there is no room for imperfection. If it's not perfect, you're gonna see it like instantly. When a blade like that with this kind of simple grind has the tiniest imperfection, you will see it. I mean, this is what happens when you don't make something perfect and simple at the same time. So I absolutely adore that, because usually Charles is not also a maker that makes simpler knives. His usual builds are always, you're gonna find, you know, like as I said, liner lock, a bolster, some work in it, not this simple package. So like I said, an absolute perfect EDC. But now we're gonna look at the details that will make this knife, to me, absolutely perfect and way apart of the others. So we have here a very nice and small package, which is, you know, me now, I love those small knives. 3" and under for the blade length is, to me, the perfect package for EDC. It's slim, it's small, it fits perfectly in the hand. You know, you don't need an extra length, to me, for EDC on a knife like that. My hands are XL, look at that. It fits perfectly with my hand. All the fingers have a nice grip. And here the flipper tab makes a nice guard. You don't have any kind of jimping, but also that I've talked a lot of time about that. When you have a nice guard with the flipper tab, or with the design of the handle, when the guard is well here it can be slippery. It doesn't make any kind of trouble, because you want to have some grip here if here you don't have a guard, because what you don't want is for your index to you know to be slippery and to fall and to cut yourself on the edge. But here, if you have a nice guard, no need for jimping. So very nice package for EDC. We have a beautiful frame lock with this nice orange peel finish. And those milling on the frame are just insane. I don't know if he uses CNC, and honestly, I don't care. It's 100% pure custom knife, and I don't care if it's milled or not. The pivot is a regular one, but look at that. He made a finish that is highly polished. You see my little pinky here moving, highly polished to, you know, to kind of go and to match the blade. And it's also the same on the other side. Look at that, very nice high polish finish on the hardware, all the hardware actually. On the other side, we have the frame lock. That is also something that is unusual, but mostly because he doesn't make a lot of frame lock. But you have a steel insert here, and this very nice clip that I talked about, some milling here. And I really like this lanyard hole that is not only cut on the scale of the frame, but also on the back spacer. Look at that. The back spacer, if you look at it from the inside, you will see, you don't see the holes. You see, so it's a big piece of titanium that is jeweled. I really like the finish on this back spacer. Very nice and flush. And here it's cut inside the hole. It's cut in the back spacer and in the frame. I really appreciate that. Also, something that is interesting, not for the eyes actually, but for the function, the steel insert is a big piece of metal that is here, and that goes here and makes a kind of inside of a travel. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you that, but basically it's a unique piece. I'm not sure that it will be able. You have to understand that here on the other side you have this piece of metal that goes like that, and that does that kind of angle to ensure here the over travel here. So like I said, it's not really fun for the eye because the cut is kind of big here and you see the over travel, but it's not really a problem. I mean, you have a couple, the two things that I don't really like in the design is that you can see here the over travel and here the ball detent, the whole detent. That's it. Other than that, I absolutely adore the rest. I absolutely love also this big and long cut on the frame, on the lock, sorry. Very nicely done. And the action is superb, as always, you have almost the proprietary noise, the thwack that his knives make, whether they're flippers or a thumb opening, that makes this sound that is almost unique with Charles' knife. The engagement is really great, and I'm not sure that I'll be able to show you that, but the lock geometry, I love it. It's kind of, it goes flat, and then after that it does a curve like that. Those are my favorite lock geometry, and the piece of metal that is touching. Let me try to show you that. The piece of metal that is touching is only here at this junction. Here it doesn't touch at all the blade tang, and it suffices. Oh, you can tell here. It's just this little piece of extra metal that is touching the tang, and it's sufficient. You need to have the resistance. You will need to have it the further away from the pivot. For the strength, you need to have here the lock being, as I discussed with Dalibor knife already, to have the pressure going the further away from the pivot, and that's exactly what Charles did here. It's a rock solid knife, doesn't budge at all. It's an internal stop pin, and there is absolutely no movement whatsoever. Look at that, absolutely effortless to disengage. Centering is spot on, as you can expect. A very nice detent, unbreakable, and the action, as you can see, is brilliant. We are I'm too slow on this review, and I want to talk about this blade. The blade is a regular a drop point with a grind that looks almost like Loveless fans. Don't hate on me. I was going to say that it looks a little bit like a Loveless grind. It looks like it, you can tell. And you have a dramatic hollow grind here on the main edge, and here on the bevel, a very nice hollow grind with this line. Of course, if the line were to come here, and that would be more of a Loveless grind, but whatever, I absolutely love that grind. That is just superb. And as I said already, it doesn't leave any room for imperfection when you have on a full length like that, a full hollow, and especially with that finish that I want to discuss about. I was afraid when I took it that it was because it was presented as a mirror polish, but it's not actually. If you look at it closely like that, that's a really, really nice, probably one of my favorite finish. I see only Bob Terzola doing something like that. Almost a high polish. It's highly polished, of course. It's highly polished. If you take something like, come on, I'm going to try to show you here. You can tell, you see the reflection here is just highly polished, but it's not mirror at all. So you see you have this very, very nice polish that looks also like the Loveless. Probably, I don't know if he had in mind to make a kind of tribute to Loveless. I don't know, have no clue. But you have this highly polished finish, and yet with a very, very resistant what I want to say is that you're not afraid to use this light stone wash finish. It's a very nice finish for EDC, where the mirror polish, that it will scratch and it will wear in time. This is just a phenomenal finish. That's probably my favorite part of this knife, is this finish with this highly polished and yet very lightly stone washed blade. I wanted really to show you that because it's just an impressive finish. I've talked about that on my Terzola knives. Terzola has a way to make his satin finish that only he does, to my knowledge, and now I can tell that Charles do something almost looking like that. You're not gonna get that kind of finish any time of the day. Believe me, doing that to me is it's a prowess. It's a prowess because it looks in between something that is very very friendly for EDC, and yet it looks also like a mirror polish. But I'm heading to the 15 minutes, and I wanted to say that it's on bearings IKBS. Unfortunately, yes, because it's written here, and that is something that I hate to see, but whatever. perfect. As I said, as you can see, a perfect knife and simple at the same time. Great, great, great EDC. I am beyond happy with that score, and hopefully Charles will make others for you to have the chance to enjoy those beautiful knives. I will leave it at that because we are heading to the 15 minutes, and it was a pleasure for me to make this video. Bye bye, my friends.